So let's bowl off now with cricket on the SportsMax Zone on this Wednesday. The West Indies will face Bangladesh in the Women's World Cup qualifiers early Thursday morning Caribbean time in Lahore, knowing that there is still a mathematical possibility of securing one of the two qualifying spots. The West Indies are currently fifth in the table with 2 points, and wins in their remaining matches against Bangladesh and Thailand could push them up to maximum 6 points, leaving it all up to net run rate. Coach Shane Dietz says his team must look to finish on a high.
Been a disappointing tournament so far, but we've got 2 games. We've got to finish really well and hope results go our way. But what we've got to focus on is playing better ODI cricket. You know, we're in this position at this tournament because we haven't played good cricket over this cycle of ODI cricket for about 3 or 4 years. And that's something we've got to really improve on, look at and review after this and be better going into the next cycle of the championship for the next World Cup. Obviously now we've got to recover. We've got 2 big games to come, train well in a couple of days and come out fighting hard last 2 games. And yeah, anything can happen. Cricket's a funny game, but we've just got to focus on finishing well and playing some really good cricket and giving our fans something to cheer about, because obviously we've let them down, let ourselves down, let all our fans back in the Caribbean down, which is real disappointing. But yeah, that's cricket. We've got to fight back. That's the only way to do it, is train hard, get together, stick together as a team, come out fighting in the last 2 games, and hopefully a few things go away and a miracle can happen.
Yeah, body language of Coach Shane Dietz there, looking very disappointed, hardly making eye contact with the camera, and I guess the reasons are obvious. Joseph Reds Pereira joins us via the telephone to look ahead to this encounter. Reds, a veteran commentator of over 50 years. Before we start this interview, Reds, any quick words on the passing of Milton Pydanna, the former outstanding Guyana wicket-keeper batsman, and played a couple of ODIs for the West Indies as well, passed away yesterday in the USA. You'd have covered him a lot during your busier years as a commentator, Reds.
Yes, I saw most of his 80-odd first-class matches. Very efficient keeper. Didn't get a test match when he was on tour. When they played him in the ODIs initially, but brought in David Murray. Obviously, he was the senior man. But my memory of him is that he really was a personality. He enjoyed playing. He enjoyed the game. He enjoyed chatting and mixing with players. You know, really a personality. The short name is Pi, and he was really a stalwart in the Guyana team that did very well at that time.
Yeah, okay, Milton Pydanna, former Guyana and West Indies player, dead at age 75. Also, Reds, let's look ahead now to the West Indies and their troubles in Lahore. 2 losses in 3 games so far, and their backs against the wall as they head into a game against Bangladesh, which on form, you know, we have to suggest that Bangladeshis would be favourites going in.
Yes, so the loss against Scotland is, you know, hurting all of us still. And Pakistan has got 6 points. Bangladesh has got 6 points. Thailand got quite a few runs against our island, so we just can't underrate them. But the thing that stands out in my mind, many years ago, Lance, I saw a picture called Costa Last Stand, about General Costa. And this is our last stand. We have to produce about 4 or 5 players who are really going to be X factor. Now, Lance, maybe we can begin by looking at what changes you think they might come up with.
Well, I'm not sure, because I would suggest that the coach would have gone in with what he considers to be the strongest team, but they haven't played well, so he may have to look outside of the 11 that he preliminarily had gone in with and get other players in there. But that will be your call, Reds.
Well, they can bring back Joseph, the Sadusha left-hander, on her day or on her night or on her morning. She could be lethal with Matthews. They could try Williams, who can also open. What's the situation with Taylor, with her fitness? Is she fit enough to play, etc.? All those things Campbell has underachieved so far. Where do you bat James? I think I prefer to see bat James at number 3 and someone Oakmills with Matthews. Henry got a major role to play. I don't understand when you look at the stats with the amount of balls and the amount of boundaries she's been hitting. But, you know, just too aggressive, not building the innings. The bowlers can play their part. I am very confident that the bowlers will be fairly economical. I like Mangrove's performance in the last game. I think 10 overs, 1 for 28. Aline is a good all-round prospect, but as I said last, we really need about 5 people to come with their best performance in this competition.
Reds, Leighton here. This is not an age-old question. I think I've asked you this question before. Is this team too dependent on Hayley Matthews to play well for them to succeed? Because it seems as if she does not perform well with the bat or the ball or both, then the side struggles to find any kind of confidence, any kind of rhythm, any kind of consistency. You know, is it still a dynamic where Hayley Matthews is the, I don't know, the catalyst of this team, that if she doesn't perform, this team doesn't seem to be able to believe in themselves enough?
But that is very true. That the answer to that is yes, yes, yes. And of course, you can add Dutton to that, who we don't have. And I think Dutton on one leg will probably produce more than some of the players who have been letting us down. But Matthews, no doubt, is the key. Matthews, no doubt, is the key. If she can come good tonight with the bat and ball, especially with the bat, we can put runs on the board to give ourselves a chance. The other thing that Lance just mentioned, that if we get past Bangladesh and Thailand, it's not just winning, but is the margin of the victory, Lance.
For real. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to ask you, Reg, when you mentioned, of course, Zeta James, we saw her bat higher up the innings and scored 45, I think it was the last match. Where do you think her best position is in this team? Because usually they bat her down, lower down in the order where she has to be rushing things all the time. But she seems a lot more capable when she bats higher. Is a lot more consistent position for her?
Yes, her 47 was at number 3, or 47 balls.
Yeah.
My question to Lance was, who will open with Matthews? They go back to Joseph or try Williams or try a pinch hitter? My feeling also that other than Matthews, we need other people to contribute. Matthews cannot do it alone. We have to get people really standing up and producing some batting performances, especially the bowling. I think could hold its own, but you know, the batting in the middle order has been, you know, paper straw.
Yeah.
You know what, Reds, one of the issues that I'm facing here is I'm trying to find answers for how poorly this team has played so far in these World Qualifiers. Because if you look at the head-to-head between the West Indies and, let's say, Bangladesh, the last 4 meetings between them, the West Indies have won 3 out of the 4. And 2 of those 3 victories were handsome victories by 8 wickets, 9 wickets, 80 balls to spare. And we end up going into a Bangladesh match now that Bangladesh is our favourites to beat the West Indies because of what we have seen so far in Lahore. So what has really gone wrong with this team there?
We have not progressed where Bangladesh and other teams have progressed. Pakistan definitely have improved from the Pakistan which years ago we were beating very easily. I think, Lance, we missed the boat when we won the World Cup. The successful boards have not invested in the development of the game. We have one member state who have a club structure, Trinidad and Tobago. There are no other clubs. Well, Roland Butcher has just formed a club in Trinidad, but we do not have a nursery. We do not have clubs where other countries have got clubs. We don't have girls playing at the secondary school. As I said many times in this program, they play everything except cricket. When we are going to see the light and build a nursery, our numbers are small. Therefore, we have to use every idea and every possibility of really developing the game from the age of 12. You can't start teaching the game as we saw in the under-19 people who were 17 and 18, Lance.
Yeah, you know what? As you go back to what the team selection might be for this assignment against Bangladesh Reds, I'm drawn to your query about Kiana Joseph if she should be brought back into the team, because the fact is she has only had single-digit scores since the start of this tournament, and it's hard to see her getting back into the team on the back of that. But yes, prior to that, she had some big scores, albeit maybe in T20s, and in the West Indies' desperation now, maybe that's an option that they could go to.
Yes, maybe they can play that card. They can play that card. She's left-hander, as you all know, and it's probably worth a try. But they can look at other options. My feeling is that James should be a 3. I certainly feel that we need to stick with Mangru. We need to encourage Fraser to bowl with pace, penetration. Ali needs to have a good all-round game. But to be other than Matthews, the key also, Lance, and your colleague, is what kind of performance we can get from Henry. Can she produce what she produced in Australia?
Yeah, you know what? Chanel Henry came into this tournament as one of the key players for the West Indies, given how much she has appeared to advance in the past year or so, and they would need her to perform tonight, both with bat and ball, because she's a fairly highly skilled player and can be just as efficient with the bat as she is with the ball, or vice versa, because that's the sort of all-round quality that she possesses. But I agree with you that there needs to be some high-quality performances tomorrow, not only from Hayley Matthews, which she tends to do consistently, but other players have to step up and give that kind of support.
And what's the position with Taylor? I mean, is she match fit?
That's the big question.
Yeah, well, Stefani hasn't been match fit now for years, really, and it's just her overall quality that takes her through these matches. And even limping, she, appears to be better than a lot of other players in the team, which is a sad commentary, but it's the reality. And I'm not sure how much work the physio and the medical staff would have been able to do with her in the past couple of days. But if she's able to carry out her duties without too much physical trouble, I think she could be a pivotal player in this West Indies team for this game. And having said that, we are talking about West Indies winning here, but as we have established, a West Indies victory against Bangladesh won't guarantee them advancing, because it's out of their hands.
Can we agree that our batting is the real question mark and the bowling seems to be fairly solid, Lance?
Yeah, to be honest, yes, I agree with you, Reds. Our bowling sometimes isn't as consistent as it needs to be, but it's the batting that has been calamitous, and it's the batting that has really caused us to lose the matches that we have lost. Because you may say that the bowling may not have been in some of the games as good as it can be, but it certainly was good enough to set up the West Indies on a victory path, Leighton.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, one of the key things is that the absence, if you look at all 3 matches so far, except for the first one where there was a 131-run partnership between Hayley Matthews and I think Zeta James.
Zeta James, yeah.
There have not been very many partnerships beyond 30 runs. I mean, if they look at the match against Scotland, for example, after Hayley Matthews got injured the first time, everything fell away in the middle order. She came back, and the wickets kept falling on the other. No, there was no consensus on building a partnership because there was enough time and there was enough runs, not enough runs, sorry, enough time, enough balls to get the runs necessary. But there seems to be an inability to build partnerships, and that's one of the key challenges of the team. We saw that in all 3 matches so far.
Yeah. All right, Reds.
Our spinners were expensive against Scotland, but they have certainly improved. I think Mangu has come in and tightened up things, but I don't believe that we have invested enough, and I suppose we're going back after the horses bolted. But here's hoping we can put together a performance tonight that can get us to meet Thailand, and here's hoping that we can win with the kind of margin that will limp us into the finals.
Yeah. All right, Reds, we're going to leave it there, and we'll see what happens in Lahore on Thursday morning, Caribbean time, and hoping for a West Indies victory. Thanks, Reds.
Okay, well, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Take it easy, Reds.
You know what, and we were talking before the tournament started because the ICC T20 or ODI rankings are apparently done after each game and not like the men's ODIs, which apparently is done every Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because I was reminding our team that the West Indies actually went into this tournament as the highest ranked team. But because they haven't done well, they have now fallen back to, I think, 8th. And I think Bangladesh are now the highest ranked team in the tournament. So an opportunity for the West Indies to fix their problems in the remaining 2 games. And even though it may still fall short of qualifying for the World Cup, at least, you know, we need to see them winning these two last games.
Win out and you know, let the odds fall where they may. But the reality is that they cannot continue to play as poorly as they have been these past 3 matches. Because even the match against Ireland, winning by 6 runs, 181 from this team is an underwhelming performance. So the reality is that they haven't played well, they haven't built partnerships. And outside of Haley Matthews, nobody's done anything, actually. I mean, outside of the bowlers. I'm talking about the batters primarily here. Nobody's done anything to warrant, you know, moving forward, and it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to leave it there. Thanks, Reds, again for joining us for this look ahead to this Bangladesh game against the West Indies in the Women's World Cup qualifier in Lahore, Pakistan. We go to break. Back with more on The Zone after this.